Welcome back to another episode of High Levelism. On your way in the door, do me a favor, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're feeling the content. We're going to chop it up today about why men must date with wisdom and not emotion. Let's get right to it. A lot of men don't struggle in relationships because they lack heart. They struggle because they lead with emotions and try to bring their thinking in later. And by the time logic shows up, attachment is already formed in a relationship. Habits have already been built. Lines have been crossed. And now you're negotiating with a situation you would have never chosen from in a clear, wise position. See, emotions move fast, but the consequences move slow. That delay is what traps people. Early attraction has a way of shrinking a man's perspective. We could see behavior that wouldn't concern us in any other situation because we get drawn in. You know, you look good, it's fine shit, she thick, whatever it might be, so you allow it. You call instability passion. What you see as inconsistency, you call independence. When she toxic, you just say that's just how she is and chalk it up. You allow your desires to edit reality. Wisdom is what restores it. It's like that post-nut clarity. It's like the same thing, you feel me? Dating without discernment feels intense at first. This is considered to be the honeymoon phase. It's all type of excitement, attention, you giving it all, chemistry, the illusion of closeness, all that, whatever it might be. But what feels electric in the beginning can become exhausting later on. The same unpredictability that once felt thrilling starts to feel unsafe. The same emotional highs that felt meaningful start to feel like cycles. Wisdom is what helps a man to notice these patterns before he gets entangled in them. One of the clearest tests of wisdom is how a man responds to betrayal. When cheating happens, the issue isn't only the act. It's the breach of trust, a change in your safety, and the signal it sends about your boundaries. A man who returns too quickly often tells himself he's been forgiven. He got more mature and that now he kind of understands. But what he may actually be doing is teaching the relationship that his limits are flexible under pressure. And over time, that can threaten your internal respect, even if the relationship continues on cool. Trust that gets broken through deception rarely goes back to where it was before that. It becomes like you monitoring that person's trust, watching their trust, questioning their trust. And at this point, it just turns the relationship into you being like a supervisor. You shouldn't have to monitor somebody's loyalty. Monitoring someone's loyalty drains energy that you could have been using to build something more meaningful, And a man that carries that weight around often finds his focus declining in other areas of his life, where it matters, at work or in his purpose, and when it comes to his discipline. Emotional strain just doesn't stay contained. It's got to take that energy from somewhere else, you feel me? Disrespect works similarly, but not as loud. It often begins with like tone changes and small things like that, little nonchalant dismissals and public comments that might turn you off, ignoring something you said to do or to not do, shit like that. And a man without grounded standards starts rationalizing himself. You start to become the problem. He explains her behavior instead of observing her patterns, right? You adjust yourself like a bitch to avoid conflict. Slowly, that teaches you to stop addressing what the problem is. You accept less than what you deserve and that you know you deserve. You know the situation is wrong and toxic. You know there's some bullshit. But you the one is making it, everything is cool. You're shrinking yourself down like you some type of female or something. That's not high levelism. That's not peak. Moving on. Self-respect is the ability to say, that's not gonna work for me, bro. And stand on it. Well, you play, you lay. You fucked up. I was giving you my all. I was making you number one, treating you like queen bee, all that. And you want to play me for like a two-digit midget for Tom, Dick, and Harry? Then you gotta stand on that shit. It is what it is. A man who can maintain his self-respect doesn't negotiate his worth. He simply refuses the environment that he's in and doesn't make him feel like his value or his worth that he knows he is. You feel me? And that refusal protects his emotional stability long term. You don't get into relationships like that. You don't get into situations where that can happen, because at the very sign they know you're running a strict program and your ass is grass. Now here's where balance matters. Wisdom in dating is not just defensive. It's also how a man shows up. So it's a two-way street. Expecting loyalty while being inconsistent creates instability. Expecting emotional security while being distant creates confusion. If you want a solid partner, you must be a solid partner to begin with. You can't just expect all of this shit and you're a dirtbag, you're not shit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't faithful, you ain't keeping it real with it. You know what you expect. No, this is for niggas just giving it they all, keeping it 100, keeping it real, and then you getting some bullshit. Then no, you see what it is. Reliability, leadership, emotional steadiness. This is all what's needed to create an atmosphere where trust can grow, right? Where she can be who she needs to be. So don't forget that. Don't just think like you supposed to expect all it. No, you got to do the work too. Dating means we got to be intentional. That comes with effort, planning, listening, being present in the moment. When a woman feels valued through consistent action, right, she is more likely to invest her feelings, her emotions, her time, all of it. Neglect, on the other hand, creates these gaps we're talking about. What gets filled with the gap? Outside attention, emotional distance, doubt. Stability is not created through words. It's built through repeated behavior. Loyalty from a man's side is equally as important from the woman's side. Entertaining constant alternatives will constantly leave you open. If you're giving 3 or 4 women your time and you're expecting this one to give you everything, then you're not giving it back in return. You don't even realize that. You're giving 25% over 4 situations. Emotionally, you feel me? If he never acts, that mindset shows how you come into the table. And women peep that. You know? They know when you're not focused. And commitment requires focus. A divided mind cannot build with unified connections. If you're giving something over here and over here, over here, then you're going to be spread too thin to give it where it matters at. And then you're wondering why your investment ain't getting the return that you want on it. You know, it's a lot that goes into it. Encouragement matters too. A healthy partnership involves growth on both sides, supporting her development, celebrating her progress, creating an environment where ambition is respected. All of that type of stuff strengthens y'all bond. Relationships become weak when one person evolves and the other person is not doing nothing, or they're resisting the change. Then you might get left behind, you feel me? But still, wisdom requires realism, right, with reality. Some people are not built for long-term stability. Some just struggle with accountability. Some people just don't want to get better. They don't want to grow. Others like that toxic cycle of chaos. Love does not restructure character. Whoever somebody is who they're going to be. When they show you that or tell you that the first time, believe it. Time does not replace discipline. Commitment does not eliminate patterns that people have since they were children. So a man who ignores repeated evidence of what he sees because he sees the potential, them the ones you see pay for it with these divorces and in the headlines and all of that, because they were optimistic. You know, they felt like, what they saw wasn't real. That wasn't the real them. They knew the real them better than what they were shown. Gonna always pay for that later on down the line. Leaving is sometimes the most responsible action. Just, no arguments, no drama, no crashing, just leaving. When these patterns show long term that y'all are not going to be compatible, then you betraying yourself at that point, because now you know. It's a difference if you ain't know. Many men wait for catastrophe to happen before they leave. Wisdom is already going out the door. At the moment that you notice what it is and then don't decide to leave, wisdom is going out the door. When the signal is clear and the damage hasn't happened and you get that little sign in your, this ain't right, and you be like, oh man, that's wisdom gone. Because the next thing is catastrophe. And what's the saying go? You always get a warning before, you know what I'm saying? Warning always comes before destruction. Yeah, believe that. That's a real shit. Pace also plays a major role. When you get with somebody and y'all get together and it's that honeymoon phase real quick and you build that fast emotional bond, a lot of the times you bypass the vetting process, the evaluation process. When attachment builds quicker than understanding, you confuse being familiar with this person with alignment. You know what I'm saying? With like who you're supposed to be just because you know them. Time reveals all. It'll reveal the consistency, it'll reveal the inconsistency, it'll reveal whether you're supposed to be with them or not. Anybody can throw on a mask real quick. You can meet a representative real quick, and that representative can be around for 5 years even. 6 years. Some people never, until they've been married, had kids, and divorced, meet the real person. So you never know. You know what I'm saying? Sustained character tells the truth. Another overlooked factor is peace. A relationship is not gonna never be perfect. But always having confusion and tension and up and down roller coaster of emotions, those are indicators of misalignment. Effort is normal. It is what it is. Constant turbulence is not. A man who ignores persistent stress because the love or the connection is strong in their mind, you trade long-term stability for that short-term feeling, for that short-term emotion. Now consider situations where also you're coming into the fold, right? And you meet somebody and she got kids already. Okay. Everybody talk about being a step baby daddy and whatnot. To each his own. But you know me, I just want to let you think it's never no judgment. Going in that, it requires clarity. You can't, that's not an ego decision. That's something you got to be clear on if that's what you want to do or not. You must understand you enter in a structure with responsibilities that is already there. It's already an emotional dynamic there. It's a past connection with that man that's not gonna never go nowhere. With her, with the children, she can tell you all day long they don't see eye to eye and all of that. We ain't gonna even get down. That's a whole nother video. Just hear what I'm saying, bro. If you're not emotionally prepared for that reality, you're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be unhappy. And it ain't gonna work. So that's between you and what you gotta deal with, you know what I'm saying? Can't nobody else tell you that. So all these videos about, what other people's situations is and what they will or will not do, it's just the bond that you got between them kids and that woman, and if you can deal with it. You feel what I'm saying? But if you genuinely value her and you choose the situation consciously, then you gotta be mature. It ain't no competition. You can't be insecure. You gotta be consistent. You gotta be present. That path is gonna demand you to be patient. It's gonna demand emotional strength. It's not for everybody. and pretending otherwise. That's why you got so many women hating niggas out here now. Because they feel they got duped when they made the decision and duped themselves. They craps out on themselves. I'm pretty sure all the indicators like I just told you was there. And like I told you, fine shit, thick shit, whatever it might be, or lust, a nigga can't control his dick, got him into a situation, now he crying. When wisdom told him like, man, 3 months ago you should have been. You know, you gotta always remember a key question. Are you choosing something from a position of clarity or from fear of being alone, especially when it comes to dating? Is it from alignment or from pressure? Wisdom begins with honesty with yourself first. You gotta look in that mirror and be honest, like, man, am I capable? Emotionally, physically, financially, you know? Long-term partnership is less about passion and more about being stable. Attractions, they start shit. Your character is what's gonna walk y'all down the line. How you handle stress, responsibility, how you handle growth. That reveals more than how you express affection, attention, right? That weighs more. Men often underestimate how much relationships influence the rest of their lives. You know, they don't think that them underperforming their work is emotional strain. So now they can't concentrate. They don't want to tie them just spending money on shit. Just steady buying shit to feel good. Because at the crib, shit is, unstable. It's a period of instability right now. Choosing a partner without discernment can quietly derail progress that you've been making up until this point. All them times that you've been building, all them dark days, can throw it off. Dating wisely is about being grounded. A man who operates this way, you don't close yourself off. You're not distant. You just stop offering access where alignment is missing. If y'all ain't lined up, if you ain't locked in, then you don't want it. Love is meaningful. But without love, wisdom can become costly. And the price is paid slowly through stress, distraction, loss of time. A man who dates with wisdom, he protects more than his heart. He protects his future, his purpose, his direction. It's your boy.